You're listening to The Startup with Monique LeRae, only on LA Talk Radio.
How's it going, Los Angeles? This is The Startup with Monique LeRae. I'm Monique LeRae. Welcome back to another episode. This is my holiday check-in episode with you guys. How is everybody doing? How has your holidays been? Boy, I'm getting everything organized here for the new year and my new office space. So pardon my dust, but I want to say thank you to everyone that supports this show. We're so excited to close out this year, being 6 years on the air. Thank you, Sam, and your team, and everybody that supports it. Shout out to Michael Solberg Family Wines, Aegis, who will be on here later, Dr. Vaughn and his team, and everybody that tunes in. Thank you so much for your love and support. And let's jump right into it. You guys, by popular demand, we have the author of Paper Trail, and that is Lyndon Haynes. He's from the UK. He's across the pond. He's up late to be with us. What is it, midnight there, Lyndon?
Yeah, it's midnight now. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for losing sleep for us and telling us about Paper Trail. Good to see you.
It's all good. Thank you very much for having me again. I appreciate it.
Yes. I mean, you know what? 'Tis the season. No matter what you celebrate, you know, you've got to look at the gifts that you're giving your loved ones, employees, friends, and family. So I thought this book was so well put together. It's a beautiful cover. And this is his first, Mr. Haynes' first authorship, if you will. So why don't we go full screen and tell people about yourself? If they missed the last time you were on, tell them about your background in music and how you put all that together in this first book, Paper Trail.
Yeah. So again, I'm from London. I'm an author now, but before the authorship came, I was a musician. I was a rapper for a UK rap band, which back in the 90s, we were signed to Virgin Records. And I just, after a long time in the music business, I made the transition to writing stories and being an author, writing some screenplays. But really, my passion lies in storytelling. So, you know, this is where the books come from. And I just want to keep going, keep raising my profile, getting the book out there and improving myself as well, you know, as an author. So I really like into the art of storytelling and the craft of writing. So this got me to where I am today.
Very well put. And, you know, I need the people to understand just how crafty you and artistic you are in your chapters. Like sometimes when I'm talking to authors or people that are looking to write a book, you know, I'm always polishing up book ideas. I've never quite published anything yet, but I lead with chapters. And it's interesting that you do this with the chapters. You do something really unique. Why don't you share with the audience what it is you do?
Yeah, so pretty much every chapter I write is based off a song, or the soundtrack to the chapter is a song. And it's usually either a hip hop song, you know, or some kind of R&B song. But I do that because I like to set the mood. I think it's a soundtrack to set the scene of the chapter and really evoke like a really dramatic sense of what's happening in each chapter. So I'm a massive music fan, as we've discussed before. I love hip hop. I love all kinds of music, but mainly hip hop. And, you know, I listen to a lot of songs. So when I listen to those songs, it gives me ideas of where I want the chapter to go. And as I say, sets the soundtrack for, you know, for how the mood of the chapter is going to be.
Yeah, let's take it back a little. Now, the the UK based band with Virgin. Tell us how you stumbled upon that opportunity, or did you lay the groundwork to make that come about?
No, what it was is that there was a guy called DJ Fingers who I went to school with, and he was like a local DJ, hip hop DJ, one of the first like scratch DJs in my area. And we went to school together. He was in my brother's year, but me and him had a really good connection. So I literally was a fanboy, started following him around, and he would take me to clubs and parties and stuff like that. And, you know, I just sort of fell in love with the culture. I mean, I came to New York when I was 16 years old. And as soon as I got to my uncle's van, he was playing Mr. Magic on the radio or something. And I was hearing like all of these Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane, all these kind of songs. And from there, I just fell in love with it. And then the UK hip hop scene was starting to grow from the New York scene. And as I said, I just followed my friend around, and we met this other guy that was a rapper called Crazy Noddy. they got together and formed this group called the Syndicate. And I was literally just the guy that followed them around to every party and hip hop jam they were playing. And eventually they said to me, you know, you may as well start rapping because you're always with us. You may as well start rapping. So
Wow.
I started writing a few little raps and stuff. Didn't really think it would go anywhere. And eventually, it just evolved for me to be in the band and with some other guys, and we all formed the band together. And the rest is history, as they say. You know, we did a lot of work on the London circuit. We were pioneers of the old school UK hip hop scene. And we got noticed by several labels, and we chose to sign with Virgin at the time. So that's how it worked out.
We love Sir Richard Branson on my show. We remember the Rebel Millionaire. Or was it Rebel Billionaire? I love that. I love that. I love everything about it. I think he's got, you know, the good balance. I don't know him personally, but a good balance of branding and like heart. Like he seems like someone that's really got the good balance of, you know, humanitarian ideals and success, you know, and seeing that in you. I mean, what a way to go, following your passion, right? Like just being around the energy, being around the people you wanted to be with, learning that craft, and then eventually being invited in. Did you ever in that journey feel like, all right, you know what? I think they're going to ask me to be in the band? Or did you contemplate it before, or you just were going through your passion?
To be honest, no, I didn't. But they were encouraging me, like, you know, you got to be part of this. You got to be part of this. And the guy that I was with, DJ Fingers, he kept saying to me, like, if something happens, like, I want you to be part of it. So that's what really got me started with the writing and stuff like that and the rapping. It was very daunting because London was a hard crowd. So to stand on stage and rap your first, like, lyrics and stuff in front of an audience, it was very, very intimidating. But eventually, you know, I'm obsessed with things. So once I get into something, I'm fully obsessed with it, and I really would study hard to make it the best that I can make it. And I was just part of the band, and it worked out. So and I carried on after that as well. So, you know.
Wow. That is a really great reminder for folks that don't know how they're going to get to what they love or how to get around it, or how to be integrated, to really just follow that inner voice, to really follow that passion, because things happen when you show up, right? I mean, Lyndon, what did your parents think of this? What did your friends and family think of this when this was all unfolding? You're really young.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was happy because he was a musician himself. He was in a band, he was a singer. So I was kind of like repeating his footsteps. So he was quite happy with that. He was a reggae singer back in the day from Jamaica, and, you know, he cut records too. My mum was like, I don't think she really realized what was going on or how big it was until, you know, we started to play the major venues and we secured a tour with Soul to Soul, as I mentioned before. And, you know, that's when she really thought, oh, God, he's really doing something here. And, you know, she came to a couple of the shows and stuff like that. So she saw me in action as well.
Amazing. And when your parents are on board at that young age, and you have that background with your father being a reggae artist, wow, what a beautiful aligning of the stars. So, all right, let's get into this book. Let's, you know, your foray, if you will, to book writing is Paper Trail. You guys, it's out right now. You can get it on Amazon. There it is, baby. Lyndon Haynes. Get this for someone that is your friend in music, in culture, in it's very dramatic open, by the way. I'm like, oh my God, I read it right before bed, like the opening of your book. I'm like, oh my, it is a definitely there's a cliffhanger in it. I'm still making a dent. I have got ways to go. I've got a lot of books here in the bookshelf, but I'm working on it. But I'm interested in the chapter 8, Farewell Summer. Without giving it all away, can you give us a little bit about where you were in the story with this chapter, and entice us a bit? And Sam, can you go full screen so Lyndon can kind of?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it myself. Actually, it's been a while. I think Farewell Summer was that the chapter where one of the characters goes away and she's in a different country. I cannot remember it personally. Here we go. I got it here. Chapter 8. Yes, I remember it very well. So one of the characters called Lena, she's part of something that she shouldn't be part of. I'm just going to put it that way. And she goes to the Middle East to visit an orphanage where there are kids there that are obviously going to be used in part of the plot. And the reason, like I wrote it, I've been to a few places in the Middle East and I've seen both sides of it, you know, like when you go to Dubai or Qatar or places like that. And I've seen both sides of it. So I've seen the rich, you know, opulent side of like Dubai and Qatar. And I've also seen the other side where there's a lot of, you know, desolation and not good housing and refugees, etc., etc. So I wanted to sort of touch on that in the book, and part of the plot, which I don't want to give too much away for the readers who haven't read it yet, but part of the plot touches on child trafficking and, you know, migrants and stuff like that. And the character Lena, this is where she goes away to a part of the Middle East, and there's an orphanage where they actually choose the children that they wish to traffic over to the UK. And it's quite a sinister plot. It's very sort of emotional what happens during that particular chapter. And the reason I called it Farewell Summer is because there's an album by a rapper from New York called Joel Ortiz. And that was the name of an album that he did called Farewell Summer, which was one of my favorite albums. So I thought, you know, that title really suited it. And again, listening to the music and understanding how I wanted to really create that chapter, I thought that was a great heading to sort of frame it in what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's what that's about. I don't want to give too much away because I want people to buy the book and read it and understand for themselves exactly where the plot goes. But yeah, that particular chapter was something that I wrote from memory as well, from seeing the visual images when I went to places in the Middle East. So I wanted to sort of incorporate that in the book as well.
I love that, using travel as an inspiration. Boy, am I in the middle of that with the pandemic project, the pandemic film, and the endemic project, you know, the 40 plus countries, integrating that in my book, my outline, doing speaking engagements. And I love that you're doing that. Isn't it true? I would say going places and traveling outside of your sphere really is the best money you can spend, outside of your family and health, right? I mean, you can put that into something and it's there forever, like in your memory, in your book. How do you find what stands out? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in the book, but and there's a lot of stuff that goes out in life, right? So how do you pull down what feels organic and true to this project? I mean, what was your process?
I don't know. I just think of scenarios, and as I say to you before, I keep saying this all the time, but I'm a really big film person. You know, I love the visual side of film and cinematography and stuff like that. So when I'm trying to create these chapters, I want it to be sort of almost cinematic, if you like. So I try to create how can I say, like a scenario where the characters are against this backdrop, but there's things happening during that is threaded through. So you've got the arena, you've got the storyline, you've got the, you know, the characters that are part of that storyline. I just want to knit it all together and make it as visual as possible, because when you're reading books, the most feedback I get, especially with this book, is people saying to me, "Oh, I can see it on like TV or something like that."
That's, sorry to interrupt. That is the highest compliment when you're aiming for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I believe, you know, from what I've gathered from where I'm at in the book, it feels how you're threading it through. It reminds me of Pulp Fiction a bit.
Well,
and a little bit of Nocturnal Animals.
I love that film. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
and I'm a little movie snob.
you just touched on like Tarantino's one of my favorites.
Oh my God.
And also, you know, Nocturnal Animals is such a good film.
Yeah.
It's like I watch all of these films and I watch all of these series on like Netflix and things like that. And I think to myself, what's the difference between a book and a film? The only difference is that one you're watching and the other one you're reading, but the feeling that you can put into words to make create an actual scene is similar to when you're writing a screenplay. It's exactly the same. The only difference is that you're actually filming it and there's a visual for people to kind of reference. But in a book, you have the freedom to describe as much as detail as you want, in every little scene. So that's why I try and write the way I try to write. It's my signature style. I'm trying to get that signature style across.
Yeah, well done. I think your lawyer in the clearing department is going to have a full-time job if you're to make this cinematic debut. And we're speaking about, of course, Lyndon Haynes' first book, Paper Trail, now available on Amazon. You guys get this for your loved one, your hip-hop fan, your music, any kind of old school UK fan in the hip-hop genre in East Coast, West Coast. Even if you are a theater buff, film buff, you'll be able to really enjoy this book. I'm still making my way through it. And I think, clearing all that music, right? The titles, like, what a great, I hope you get the budget that you need if you do want to make it into a film, because wow, that'll be really cool to have the intro with some of the songs.
It would be nice, yeah, but a lot of sample clearance and legalities will have to go away.
We'll have to put some of your dad's reggae in there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Accessible.
He'll be happy with that, by the way. Yeah.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to say thank you for staying up. It's about, midnight in the UK with Mr. Haynes. Yeah. You guys, Paper Trail, I'm excited to see where he goes with this. He'll be back with us really soon, right? We've got some cool things we're working on.
Yes, hopefully. And, we'll be back again. We'll be doing our thing.
We'll be doing our thing. And you guys, I'll be at Sundance January 2026. And Mr. Lyndon Haynes bookmarks and anything he wants to send over across the pond will be in the swag bags when I make my way through Main Street and the events I'm doing during Sundance Week. So you guys look for this. And that bookmarker sure will give you ordering and a little synopsis on the book. Well, congratulations again, Lyndon, and happy holidays. I hope I see you before Christmas, but if I don't see you, we'll be talking on email, and Merry Christmas if you celebrate.
All right, thank you very much for having me again, Monique. I appreciate it, really do.
Yes, thank you.
Happy holidays.
Yes, thank you for being here with us. All right, Lyndon Haynes, you guys, what a joy, and I just love that British accent. I just can't get enough of the culture and seeing someone growing their brand. And speaking of, we have our next guest. I'm very honored to have Miss Mary Madreas, author of The Akashic Way. I hope I say it right, Mary. Welcome to the Startup. How are you?
Thank you, Monique. I'm so happy to be here. This is really fun.
Oh my God, this is fun. Thank you so much for being here. I loved your poinsettia in the back and your candle, and you're just giving off great holiday energy. I wore my holiday sweater for you.
I love it. So we have your red, and then we have the red over here.
That's right. We are in it. You're in my little work den. I moved and I'm getting it together. But I am so glad you're with us. You are so achieved. I can't wait to rattle off all the things that you've accomplished yet, right in this moment. But why don't we go full screen and have you introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers and tell us exactly who you are?
Sure. So my name is Mary Madeiras, and I am an accomplished television director, large part of the first part of my career. And I now work in the spiritual realm of the Akashic Records, which is what my book is based on. It's based on my journey with the records and my life, because I do believe that if we could live our lives through the lens of our Akashic Records, life, it gets easier. Our lives get really easier. So I had, many years I worked in New York, Los Angeles, CBS, NBC, ABC, MTV, news, sports, and 7 soap operas on the East and West Coast. So I was in entertainment. And then it wasn't like I did this leap and there wasn't something that hit me over the head about the Akashic Records. However, I was knowing that there was going to be more for me. And I was always seeking metaphysical information, Abraham Hicks, the usual. I was watching all the Oprah shows, Eckhart Tolle, the Power of Now, The New Earth. It goes on and on. So I was always doing that while I was still working in television. And I think it's because there was always this dimension of me, a deep part of me that knew that at some point I was going to move into, or I should say blend my experience, believe it or not, in entertainment with the spiritual world. And I've always wanted to help. I've always helped people. When I worked with actors, I was always helping them be better themselves. I helped them kind of get to the highest level that they could. So I was doing it in another way. And then, so anyway, that's one synopsis, right? Wow. But what was pretty trippy was I was having a psychic reading, and this is what's really fun. This part of my story. So I was having this psychic reading, and I was living in California at the time. And it was this woman I used to go to, frequently. And she said to me, "There's a dude over my shoulder." And I said, "Really? Who is he?" Yeah. And she said, "Well, he says that he translates sacred geometry into creative ideas for you. And he's also telling me that he oversees your Akashic records." This was back in 2008. And I said, "Well, what are the Akashic records?" And she said, "I'm not quite sure, but that's what he says he does." So yep.
God, I kind of got the chills a little bit.
That's affirmation, right? When you get those chills.
Yeah.
So what I did was I looked it up. I went to the internet, of course. And it wasn't like choirs went off and I got hit over the head with, whoa, wasn't that, but I felt I knew it already. And it was, wow. And so I didn't do anything with it. And then I was at my favorite metaphysical bookstore, which is no longer in LA, the Bodhi Tree. And I was in a back room by myself. And there was a book teetering off the shelf above me. Seriously, it was like sticking out. Called my attention to it. I looked up and I pulled it down, and it was How to Read Your Akashic Records.
Oh my goodness, boy. Signs and symbols along your journey.
Right. But, this is great to remind people about, because we're always given signs about what we've, and I want to emphasize, have chosen to come here to do. We choose what we want to come onto this planet each time to do. I like to say there's no bearded man in the clouds dictating to us what we're going to do. Yeah. And I grew up, in a Catholic family, so
we know about it.
I didn't have the new agey open, but I always questioned there was a lot of that I questioned, but I wasn't a rebel. I just thought to myself, no, there's no God that's judging everyone. I don't believe it. And so I just kind of held on to that my whole life, but I knew there was a creator, source, something. I just always knew it. And so that final sign with the book, that was it. I got the book and I started reading it, and I wound up studying with the woman who's written that and 5 other books at the Akashic, Center for Akashic Studies outside of Chicago. So that's that. And when I started to study the records, which was really opening up my own Akashic records over and over, healing my own wounds, moving into a space of more clarity, more alignment, it got easier and easier. And then I realized that I'm here to help people. My own record showed me that there was, and for those who don't know what the records are, it's this, it's a quantum divine realm that contains we'll call it the blueprint or spiritual imprint of every soul's journey, lifetime after lifetime. What every soul has done, thought, the actions, it's all in everybody's records.
Wow.
And, yes. And the records have been around since the beginning of time. I mean, they're mentioned in almost every country. They're mentioned in the Bible, the Book of Life, in the Quran. They're mentioned, like every sacred text going back very far has a description of this quantum realm that records basically everything that each of us is doing lifetime after lifetime.
Boy, I'm getting a flood, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's like a beautiful sandwich, and I just want to take a couple bites of it at first because, I'm really getting flooded with examples on how to break this down for folks. I mean, everybody that watches the show is pretty darn smart. They're starting their own businesses. Guys, I want to show you what we're talking about, the Akashic Way by Miss Mary. And there's that beautiful cover. I'm excited to take it with me to Canada for Christmas and really get dialed in when I'm in a peaceful, calm, non-work setting.
Well, the book is, here's what happened. Over the years, when I would be opening my own records to work out my own stuff, what we get when we open our records is we there's no new information really, but we get triggered to remember. Some kind of remembering begins to happen on a deep level. We remember what we're passionate about. We remember ultimately why we're here, which then makes our lives a lot easier. And so when I was doing that, besides my own issues getting worked out, which is what's in the book, it was almost like Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God, those books many years ago, where he was kind of talking to God and saying, help me with this, help me with that. There were these downloads that were happening it was information beyond what I was asking about.
Wow.
Profound. And so
let me highlight that real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm so intrigued, and we're going to have you back before right before Christmas and Hanukkah and all the things to really go deep. We're going to take a large segment because I really believe this is what the collective needs right now, especially for my entrepreneurs that are struggling to make things happen. And it sounds like you aren't the type of person that needs to burn your finger too many times before you get the message, right? You saw the dangling book, someone pinged you, and it was in your subconscious. It was right there, and you were like, okay, I heard this before. Let me get the message. Oftentimes, we push against things, but I'm learning as I get older, when you hear something, see something, more than if you one couple times more than once, you got to pay attention to it, good or bad. And it's there as a reminder, right? So these records remind me of the show where they're looking at their roots to find their family. Their names. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? Yeah.
Yes. What a great host. The gentleman's name fails me, but this is on a spiritual level and on an energetic level for your records, guys. So this will help you when you're creating things, why you're attracted to certain things, why you're driven towards certain things, where you should go. This could save you years and a lot of money if you're back on the tracks, the right tracks, right? I mean, this is
you're absolutely right. It does. And I actually work with people who are beginning their businesses, or they've had their businesses, because I can open the Akashic records of a corporation. It's anything that exists in the public domain has an imprint. And, when we create things, whether we invent them, we write them, whatever the things are that we create, it has, in a sense, it's an essence, and it's come in. That's how we get ideas. And that essence married to us, it looks for its match, comes together, and we go, whoa, and we have these ideas, right? So when we go to the records, besides personal stuff, right, we can actually work out, I call it soul mapping. We can actually map out, according to who you are, where it is you're going in terms of a business, and how to, you're right, save time, because we're supposed to be doing the things we love. We've been lied to about that. That's right.
That's right. Oh my, we could have a whole segment about that one.
Right.
Boy, you're just a breath of fresh air. I can't say it enough. When your team reached out, what a lovely lady she is. Shout out to
Dia.
Shout out to Dia.
A gem. Yeah.
Her birthday's coming up on your next show appearance, so we'll have to give her a shout out then. But I just felt like, wow, this is something after the year we've all had, good or bad or in between, and the last few years. But I feel like 2025 was like hold my beer, like to 2024.
It was rough. Yeah, it was really rough. But here's the thing: divine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just call it divine, source, divine, universe. It doesn't matter what we want to call it.
Yeah.
What I keep hearing, I hear blocks of thought that are not mine. That's how I knew I was accessing this. What I keep hearing, and this is the message I want to leave all of your listeners today to hear.
Let's go full stream, Sam, so she can leave us a good message.
Well, it is that we really are okay. We're okay. And the light, not that it feels like there's this light and dark fight going on. It's divine lack of divine is really what I call it. The divine light always wins. And so just keep in your hearts knowing and affirm to yourself that all is actually well. That's not to say there aren't icky things going on around us. We can see it. The United States is like bumping into each other. People are, and there's a lot of division. But it's the perceptions that get us in trouble. If we perceive all is well, which is what I hear, all is well, then that's all that's going to be around us. And that's probably part of that is the law of attraction as well. So that's what I wanted to say, especially around this time of the holidays. And, you know, psychics are saying we're going to have a rougher in this coming year.
Oh,
that's
boy.
what we're hearing.
Oh boy.
And then that makes people feel like, well, crap, what am I doing? Like,
Right.
you know.
We need to raise the vibration together that all is well and intended.
Yes, because it is, all is well.
That's right. I love that. I received that. You guys, it's a Sunday. Mary's in here having, quantum physics church. That's what she's having right now.
Quantum
and everything it goes back to that. And I really appreciate that message as creators. You know, when you've got that idea, you don't know how you're getting the capital. You don't know how you're moving through. You don't know how you're getting groceries. You don't know how you're getting on that plane. I am a walking and breathing specimen of, oh my God, how am I getting around the world to do these films? And I just did it because I knew that was my calling. I had $500 in my pocket, Venmoing and doing deals on the road. I just knew it. It was something. It was like, no, you're going to do it. So
there's a guy who channels for like 30 something years. Bashar, he's an alien from the future. UFO,
okay.
What alien? What Bashar, they're wonderful teachings, but what Bashar says is abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. That's it.
Wow.
And if you line up with what feels right and you're following your passion, I like to say surrendering to it. The universe gives it to us. It provides the way.
Yeah.
Michael Beckwith talked about that too.
Oh, a way. Jim? Oh, he's a Jim. I ran into him in Beverly Hills at Crustacean. I'm like, oh my God, it's you.
I used to go to his church, Agape.
Yes, Agape. Shout out to Mike Beckwith. Yes, what an angel on earth, just like yourself.
Thank you.
I think, Mary, why aren't we as entrepreneurs more confident in our knowing, right? Like, okay, the dollars aren't in the bank for that business right now, or you're feeling, is it our upbringing? Because we're going to have a whole talk about that, like the lack and the rich.
Part of it,
and
part of it is lineage. Okay, so we know energy never dies. Energy just keeps going, and energy is not light or dark. It's just energy, and our DNA is energy, and DNA never dies. So every lifetime that we've had, we have the energy of each lifetime in us if we want to bring it forward, whatever. So part of it is lineage that trips us up sometimes. It also can be subconscious patterns from when we're children. And Dr. Bruce Lipton speaks to this a lot. Yeah. And I work with most of my clients. We come up, subconscious patterns show up. And that's for another conversation because it's empowering to know what they are. And then
I bet.
The other thing is, like, we have been told that we're not powerful.
Yeah.
Come on, we all know this. We're told that. We're told that today. Our government
tells that every minute, especially if you're a female entrepreneur. I mean, shout out to men too. I'm sure you guys have your challenges, but boy, it can be rough.
That's right. So it's still happening, but the divine feminine is majorly on the rise. The divine feminine.
Thank goodness.
So like just know that, and we have to be courageous. We have to stand in our light and our truth. And it's not fighting what is not good, but it's keeping an eye on it and then creating the new and coming together, as you said earlier. We have to join together. And that's what you're doing and what you do here. You're bringing people together with their new ideas, their light, their passions. Yeah. You have passion, like you exude it. And so I can already hear, listening to you, I'd want to listen to you every night because I'm just meeting you for the first time because you're exuding this sort of like permission slip, be who you want to be.
Yes, amen. I love that, Ashe, because that was kind of the rebel in me always, always,
Good.
always. And I'm like, what? How am I going to do this? Oh, I'm going to do this. And there's so many things that you and I love, love, love. Dia was right. We're going to fall in love with each other in the most professional way possible.
She did say that.
I already love
she's
you.
Right.
Yes. But there's so many things to touch on, because then we can get deep and talk about, like, for instance, when I worked with the Puyallup tribe of Indians in Tacoma, Washington, for justice for Jackie. And they lost a loved one that was pregnant and unarmed. And that launched my documentary for justice and social issues when I was late for an airplane, which I am never in a smoky lounge. I don't care for cigarette smoke, but I had to plug my phone in, and I meet the uncle. And it just, those things about the bookshelf, the book on the bookshelf,
Mm-hmm.
it was those things that I paid attention. I'm like, oh, that's why I was late today. And I was hitting every wall to get to my event. And it was painful because I don't want to let anyone down, but it was really to call me forward in a different, for me, it always has to swoop in majorly.
Me too. Actually, I had that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I when I was working on the last soap I worked on was General Hospital. And,
we love it.
And this is in my book, the story of this, but I was a contract director, and we would be like the actors. We would be on, there would be these periods of time where we would be renewed by the network. Although we had to commit to the network for 3 years, but they could let us go every.
I'm having flashbacks, Mary.
every 6 months. Well, I had a good contract, so mine was 6 months. And like this woman who was a mentor to me, we were close, brings me up to her office and says, "Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry, I'm not renewing your contract." And I was like, the floor came out from under me. I was just like, what? No reasons, really. I went to all the actors. They said, "You're joking, you're not leaving." And I go, "I am." And so that see, this happens. And then my world went like this.
Yep.
And there I am in the boating
here
tree.
I am swimming again. Keep swimming, Nemo, as my friend Jeff Lewis said.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that. I'm actually grateful for that.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. You jogged my memory, working at MTV for a few years, doing some dating shows and running the casting department with Angela Weingrad. I remember being in New York, where you are right now, if you don't mind me sharing. And I got that similar phone call. And it kind of, in retrospect now, it's like, oh, I see why I was drawn to reality TV. I see why the hustle and the prove yourself and the overdo it and the run you ragged. I wanted to feel valued, and I wanted to use my talents in a way. And I also didn't have healthy boundaries, dare I say.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things in that. But to get back to the original point of why you shared that, it shook you up. In that time, what did you do? Do you mind sharing, like, how did you pull yourself forward? Did you give yourself a pause?
What I do is I kept going, and I had lots of, and at that time, reality shows were really hot. So I got in touch with anyone that I knew inside the industry and would pitch reality show ideas. So that's what I was doing. I was just running around pitching. What was interesting is it was time for me to step sideways, and I got to tell you, I resisted it because I felt like I was supposed to stay with what I knew, what I thought I knew, I should say, right? And we do that, and so that that's what I did. But here's what's interesting: is after I was not renewed that year, we were nominated for an Emmy Award, the directing team.
It's always like that.
Right. And so I said to my wife, Christine, because we were in LA and the awards were going to be at Radio City. Yeah. And I said, we were nominated, but I'm not under contract anymore. And I go, we're not going. She goes, the hell we are. We're going, because you may win. You may win. We're going. And I did win.
Yes. So, in fact, and let's just brag about you now. We're with our beautiful sister here, Mary Medeiros, and author of Akashic Way. You guys, she's got 3 Emmys. 3. Okay. 3. Okay. I have 2. She's got 3. I have to catch up. No, I'm just kidding. You are on your path. I'm so glad that you have those.
Listen, it's important that we have these. Thank you. And to you too.
Thank you.
This is important because as I move forward, people look at what I've done and they're like, oh, she's the real deal. I'm not a guru up in the clouds. Yeah. I'm a very relatable person who has accomplished a lot when women weren't, right?
Yes.
And you know that.
Yes.
And so also I want to add that probably the same for you as for me, because I worked at CBS News in New York first, is that I have a resilience that I can show up anywhere and nothing surprises me. And that's what you get when you're working in the industry, right?
That's right. That's
you just build this resistance because curveballs come at you all the time and you just make it work. Yeah. And so now we get to kind of like not be afraid anymore.
Yes, that's a beautiful way to put it. And especially for like anybody that's got some challenges socially, if it doesn't look like you or walk like you or talk like you and you're carving your way forward, which however you show up in this meat suit, I call it. Yeah. Look to Mary's example of, doing it her way, but also listening to that still small voice. And sometimes I was hearing it a lot and I was pushing it down in many areas. And I had a big swoop come in recently that said, nope, you're going this way. I'm like, okay. So
that's right. If we keep not listening, eventually we get a boot or, we just get it.
Yes, you get a big push.
I got the boot.
You got the boot too.
And it made no sense. I mean, really, and I don't want to, diminish the pain of having years of knowing and doing one thing. Directors Guild and the awards and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, that something just hits you, blindsides you, and you go, what? Right. But that's when we don't listen.
That's when we don't listen. And and we get comfortable, right? But the accolades and things are there to remind us that you trusted your gut here and you were rewarded highly. So,
well, here's this. This is probably true for you. I can walk into any conference room in any major corporation and sit at a table.
Yes.
Because when they say, who are you? A very good friend of mine is a global brander.
Great.
And she's huge. And she saw my Emmys and I had them in a corner in my house years ago. She goes, get those out. The girls, she calls them the girls. And when I take them off, she goes, put them on the table. And she said, this is important. This is going to allow you into any room, into any, whatever. And that's true. It has been working that way. So when anyone says, who are you? And then they read my bio, they go, oh,
here we go.
Do I think that they're worth that? No. You know what is worth more to me? Love. Love.
Yes, that's right. And freedom, right? Love is
freedom. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Kindness, love, and freedom.
That's right. You don't have to always be nice, but when you're kind, not being nice is sometimes good for all parties involved. Kindness I find better than being nice.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think what your branding friend was so smart to call that back to your attention, because you're an achiever as well as I am. And I think we kind of go, oh yeah, that's old energy, that's old news. But
right.
Yeah. And we're on to the next, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, what did I do in the last month? What did I do in the last? Let me sit in this in a moment and
go up in the attic and open that box and you go, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. What was I thinking this year? I really was looking back like, wait a minute, girl, take a beat. And so we'll close out here and just plug your book because you're coming back. We're going to do a whole blog.
Oh, I can't wait. I just want to just hang out with you more and more.
Same, dear. Thank you so much. Again, Mary is the author. Mary Medeiros is the Akashic Way. And I'm saying it right. Akashic.
Well, it's Akashic, but it's okay. People say Akashic, but it's Akashic. Akashic
Everybody
Records.
Repeat after me. Akashic Way.
There we go.
Okay. We're going to get that right there. And we can find this on Amazon. And how's it doing? Because did it just launch this summer, or is this one of the fresh?
Very recently, November 7th. So just a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, and thank you. And I just gotta say, I love who you are. I gotta say, now I'm going to be interviewing you. I love who you are and what you do. You're really authentic, and it's so important right now to have authentic people out there. Oh my! Did you hear my New York accent? I said authentic.
Authentic. And I need a coffee. It rubs off when you spend any time in New York. I'm like, I need a coffee. And they're like, are you from New York? I'm like, no, girl, I'm from West Covina, but whatever. It rubs off. I love New York. Enjoy your time there. And again, thank you for sharing Sunday. It's 444. Everybody make a wish. Mary, what is your one wish for entrepreneurs right now that feel chaotic? Because, chaos precedes change. Sister
I got
Yolanda
it.
says that, Yolanda Van Zant. What is your piece of upliftment, if you will? Let's go full screen and we'll leave with a positive note from Miss Mary Majerus.
Okay, so don't let anyone talk you out of what you're passionate about. Anyone or any idea that there's not enough money or this or that, or you need this and you should do it this way. Don't do that. Because if you've already got something that you're passionate about and it was birthed already in you, then it's already real. And so just, you don't have to ignore people, but just feed into that. And also ask those on the other side, if you have loved ones on the other side, or some people go to the archangels, there's so much out there that is helpful, and ask them for help. I do it all the time and it works. So
beautiful. And we're going to talk more. You know what? Let's have you on every week. No, but I did that innately. Great pieces of little gems there to share with folks to keep them uplifted. Be uplifted, be confident. Everything that you've lived through. Everything that you've come up with and accomplished, you've already done that. You can do that again. Yes, you might be a little tired, might be a little beat down.
Yeah.
You might be a little older or whatever you are in this moment, but that's old energy. Go towards your calling. And I called on my ancestors and my family that are in the spiritual realm, and I asked for signs, and I asked for affirmations, and I asked for support. And boy, did I get it. I really did get it. They heard
right? Me too.
They felt it. It's when you really need it, it comes.
Well, and they have to be invoked because they can't interfere in it's sort of like the law of divine. They can't just jump in and interfere. But when we invoke them, and specifically invoke them, they're there for us. They're not just sitting around having a party on the other side. They're there for us. They're with us all the time. Yeah. And so when we call them, and then you have to surrender to it. You don't have to ask for what you need. I do it with Mary Magdalene all the time. And she comes through constantly for me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to get my records pulled. I have an idea. Do the records. Let me ask you this. I'm sorry. I want to let you get back. It's probably dinner time now. It's about almost 7:45.
No, I'm good. We're good. Okay. I had dinner already.
Oh, good. Okay. We got 4 more minutes, but, is this, because I'm still navigating your book, your beautiful book, and I will get the answers. I trust I will get the answers when it's time. But for those listeners and viewers, our past lives, there are parts of history that I feel very connected to, like the railroad. Like I'm a jazz singer, kind of jazzy lady. I don't know. And then there's the 50s. Yeah, like the 50s mom, but I'm not really with the controlling husband kind of deal. But there's parts of history that I feel like I was there before. Does these records speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely they do. Absolutely. Because what happens is we go to the records for affirmations, and that in your case it would be that. You'd be like, I'm being drawn to this. And then as we dialogue inside your own records together, I hear thoughts to give to you, and you're actually dialoguing with your higher self. That's what's happening. And so you'll get affirmations. And I am shown past lives when they show up when they're an answer to what the client is wanting, right? That's how they show up. Mm-hmm. And yes, absolutely. And that is a clue. Especially if we're drawn to something and there's no logical reason in our lifetime that we would be drawn.
Right. You're like, I'm not hanging out on railroad stations all the time singing jazz. I mean, I like jazz and I like railroad stations, but right.
Yeah, I do have a sense about you. And I hear things sometimes more so lately without going into the records. And I have to be open to that. But I do have a sense of you in, by the way, do you have any relatives from New Orleans?
Yes, I'm Creole, Cajun.
I knew it.
Yep.
That's what I got, because I've seen you in that area, and not just because there's jazz down there. Mm-hmm. I'm getting chills. When I get chills, it's affirmation from spirit. But I got, but really renowned, like a renowned. Do you remember in New York City there was a woman? Her name was Mom's Mabel.
Yeah, I remember that name.
They're showing me her for you. And,
wow, that's wonderful. Because on my arm is Martha Mama, which is my grandmother, and that's on my father's side. We're gonna thank you for channeling. I think this was our first channel on my show, you guys. I am here with Mary Medeiros, a queen, an author, a baddie, 3-time Emmy Award winning.
A baddie, I love it.
You're a baddie, Mary. Take it, darling. Will you come back? You're coming back very soon.
I think so. I'm on the schedule with you. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm excited about it.
Yes, we have so much to cover. I didn't mean to cut your channel off, but I want to also talk to you about that because that is interesting. We're running out of time here. You guys, pick up the Akashic Way. Get into your blueprint from the metaphysical realm. This is like your DNA, not just your lineage, but your spiritual lineage, I guess would be a good way to put it. A layman way. It's not a religious thing. It's not a political thing. It is you. And there is proof and evidence. Science is real. If you use a cell phone or get into an airplane or a vehicle, that's science and math, guys. So listen to what is in front of you. This is, Mary, thank you for being here. Come back. I can't wait to see you.
You rock.
All right. What will you start up today? See you guys next week. Be well.
You're listening to The Startup with Monique LeRae, only on LA Talk Radio.